Le NPD vous a montré qu'on livre la marchandise.
The NPD will show you that we deliver the merchandise for you and not for CEOs, and we're not finished.
On va se battre pour réduire le coût de la vie. On va se battre pour
We
réduire le
will
coût
fight
d'épicerie.
to reduce cost of living. We'll fight to reduce the cost of groceries. We'll remove the GST in a permanent way on your monthly bills, on essential things. We will stop the real estate giants from buying affordable housing.
Notre priorité, c'est vous. Ça, c'est pourquoi on a livré la marchandise avec
Our
les soins dentaires.
priority is you. That's why we've delivered the merchandise with dental care, medical insurance. We have massive challenges before us, without a doubt, but I will never give up. People's greatest fear is with the tariffs, it will increase cost of living, and it's already too high.
On va éliminer les subventions pétrolières.
We will eliminate oil subsidies.
On doit construire l'infrastructure
We're ready.
au Canada
Yes, we're ready.
en utilisant
We will build
les produits canadiens,
infrastructure in Canada
l'acier canadien,
by using
l'aluminium canadien,
Canadian
le bois
products,
d'œuvre canadien.
iron, aluminum, soft lumber.
Bonsoir, Monsieur Singh. Merci d'être là à cette émission avec nous.
Good evening, Mr. Singh. Thank you for
Vous avez
joining
été
us on this
jusqu'à
program.
présent solidaire du gouvernement
Good evening.
contre
Thank you.
Donald Trump. Vous
You
avez vu la riposte
stood
aujourd'hui
by the government
du
against
gouvernement.
Donald Trump.
Avez-vous,
You saw
êtes-vous
the
toujours
response
dans le train
today
Équipe Canada?
from the government.
Oui, bien sûr, parce que je
Are
veux
you
que
still
Canada
on
gagne,
the
parce que je veux
Team
protéger
Canada
les travailleurs.
train?
Les
Yes,
travailleurs
of course,
au Canada
because I
ont
want
peur
Canada to
en ce
win.
moment.
I want to protect
Les travailleurs
workers,
qui ont déjà perdu
protect
leurs
workers
emplois.
in Canada. They're
Il y a des
afraid at
autres
the moment.
travailleurs qui ont perdu- qui vont perdre
Those who've
leurs
already
emplois.
lost their
Et on
jobs.
est déjà vu un
Others
commencement
are
de
going to lose their
augmentation de la
jobs.
coût de la vie
And
qui
we've
était
already
déjà
seen the
trop-
beginning of the increase in the cost of living, which was already too high. Do you give credit to Mark
Je
Carney
ne sais pas
because he managed to
si
negotiate
ça a
perhaps with
fonctionné,
Mr.
parce qu'on
Trump?
ne sait pas comment
I don't
Donald Trump
know
fonctionne,
Ben,
mais
il y a
if
quand
it
même
will
du
work because
soulagement
we
et c'est
don't
un
know
peu
how
moins-
Donald Trump
moins
works.
dur qu'on pensait.
C'est- dans le fait, c'est moins dur, oui, absolument.
Wasn't as hard as
Mais
we
j'ai
thought.
toujours peur parce
In
qu'il y a
reality,
des
it's less
travailleurs qui ont
hard,
perdu
yes.
leurs emplois
But
et
I'm
on
still
n'a pas
afraid
vu
because there are workers
l'augmentation
who
de
have lost their
l'assurance-emploi.
jobs
Ça veut dire
and who
qu'à
haven't
ce
seen an
moment,
increase in
avec le
employment
montant de
insurance.
subvention
That
avec
means at the moment,
l'assurance-emploi, ce n'est pas
with the amount
adéquat
of subsidies
pour, monsieur, madame,
with
tout le monde
employment
qui ont
insurance,
accès
it's
aux
not
assurances-emploi
adequate for
de faire l'épicerie,
Mr.
de payer les hypothèques, de payer les factures.
average
Donc ça, c'est
citizen
pourquoi j'ai dit,
to buy
comme
groceries, to
travail
pay
numéro
mortgages,
un,
bills. That's
qui a
why I
été
say
avancé, on doit augmenter,
job
l'assurance
number
emploi
one,
pour
Ça
avoir
serait
plus
votre
de
première
priorities,
mesure, la mesure
we
la
need
plus
to
importante.
increase
Travailleurs,
employment
ça,
terms.
c'est
That would be your
primordial.
first
Nous sommes
step.
un parti
Protecting
fondé par les
people
travailleurs,
is paramount. We
fondé
are
par
a
les syndicats.
party
Donc pour nous, c'est
founded
toujours
by the workers,
prioritaire comment on aide les
founded
gens.
by the unions. So
Vous
for
dites,
us,
une
it's always
vous
a
proposez une
priority how
riposte
to help people.
dollar pour dollar.
You say
Mais il y a
you're
beaucoup
proposing
d'économistes qui
a
disent que c'est
dollar for
difficile
dollar
parce que l'économie
response.
canadienne
But there are a
est
lot of
plus petite que
economists who say
l'économie
it's difficult
américaine.
because the
Donc,
Canadian
vous
economy
pensez pas que ça
is
pourrait
much
faire
smaller
plus
than the
mal
American
aux Canadiens,
economy.
en fait, aux consommateurs
So you don't think it could
Je
hurt
pense que
Canadians
c'est
more in the end?
C'est une montée de force
I think
nécessaire. Malheureusement, c'est une
it's
guerre
a
commerciale
necessary
qu'on n'a
show
pas
of
vivue.
strength.
C'est une guerre
Unfortunately,
commerciale que Donald
it's a
Trump a
trade war
provoquée
we
sans
didn't want.
provocation,
It's a
mais
trade
on est
war
dans
that
cette guerre.
Donald Trump
Et
provoked
donc, on
without
doit montrer
provocation.
la force.
But we're in
Donc,
this
ça,
war.
c'est quelque chose, je
And
pense
so
que c'est
we
important
have to
de
show
riposter
strength.
avec la force.
It's something
Mais
I
évidemment,
think it's
avec
important
toute
to
cette
fight
guerre
back
commerciale,
with
on ne
force.
parle que de ça
Obviously,
pendant cette campagne.
with
Les
this whole
Canadiens
trade
sont très
war,
préoccupés
that's all
par
we've
tout ce
been
qui se
talking
passe.
about during the
Et
campaign.
on le
Canadians
voit
are
un peu dans les
concerned
sondages, quoi,
about
les
everything
libéraux
that's
ont
going
pris
on.
beaucoup d'avance
And it's
et viennent
clear
chercher
from the
vos
polls that the
partisans
Liberals
d'une certaine
are
façon.
way
Pourquoi
ahead
vous pensez qu'ils vous
and that
abandonnent
they're
comme ça
going after
pour
your supporters
courir vers
in
la
a certain
partie
way. Why do you
libérale?
think they're
Je
abandoning
pense que
you
vous avez raison
and
que,
running to the Liberal
beaucoup de
Party?
monde, plusieurs
I think
Canadiens ont
you're
peur de
right
ce qui s'est passé
that a
avec
lot of
Donald
people,
Trump.
many
Mais je veux,
Canadians, are afraid of what's
rappeler les
going
gens
on
que
with
dans
Donald
ces temps
Trump.
difficiles, une
But I
question
want to
clé dans
remind
cette
people that
élection,
in
c'est
these
qui va
difficult
se battre pour
times,
vous.
a key
Pas pour
question
protéger
in
les
this
intérêts
election
des
is
grandes
who's going to
entreprises,
fight
des
for you?
PDG,
Not
des
to protect the
milliardaires,
interests
mais qui va
of
se battre
big
pour vous et votre
corporations,
famille.
CEOs,
Et ça, c'est
billionaires,
important. Donc, il y a des
but
gens
who's going
qui
to
ont
fight
peur
for you and
de
your family?
ce que
And that's
Pierre Poilievre
important.
représente. Ils ont
There are
dit que
people who
non,
are
on
afraid
rejette
of what
cette approche de
Pierre Poilievre
couper
represents.
les
They've said,
services
no,
dont
we
on a
reject
besoin.
this
Mais
approach
aussi, les
of
gens
cutting
commencent à ce moment
the
de
services
dire,
we need.
on a peur aussi que peut-être
But
M.
also
Carney
people
va
are
aussi
starting to
couper.
say,
Il a
we're
parlé souvent
also
de couper
learning
des
maybe Mr. Carney is going to cut too. He's talked a lot about cutting services, and people are afraid of that. So if you're afraid of cuts to our programs that are dear to Quebecers, vote for the NDP. We've already shown that's not what the polls are saying right now. Your party has dropped a lot. Well, it's an important question in this campaign, and we'll take time to talk to people who say we rejected Pierre Poilievre's approach. Now we have concerns about Mark Carney. For people like that, if you're worried that Mark Carney is going to cut the services you need, like healthcare, you can vote for us. We've shown that we're here to defend you. Well, Poilievre has often accused the Trudeau government of being more like the NDP Liberal government, and you ensured the survival of this government on more than one occasion. If only you've negotiated social programs, we're thinking dental insurance, drug coverage. With hindsight, do you think it was a strategic error to allow this government to survive? I think it's an important question, and for me, it's an opportunity to share my values. I often think about this woman, an elderly person, a cancer survivor, and I met her, and she spent all her life working hard, and she lost her teeth because of her battle with cancer. I was with her in a dentist's office where she said, I want to have my teeth again. I want to have my smile again. And I was with her when the dentist said, yes, we can do it. We're going to do it with this dental program. And we cried of joy. She cried with joy, saying, yes, it'll give me my dignity again. So I did it for her. And I did it for the 500,000 Quebecers who now they have received dental care thanks to our efforts. 1 million Quebecers have enrolled in this program. And now we have 3 provinces that have started. They have signed the agreement for drug coverage, which means they will have free diabetes medication, completely free. It's something that will change the lives of millions of people. Céline mentioned it, the various polls that aren't very favorable to you. We could read them. Some say that you could be swept off the map in a certain way. Do you think Canadians are ungrateful towards you for making these projects happen, for having negotiated them? Are Canadians ungrateful? I mean, that's the question. I didn't do it for the gratitude of Canadians. I did it because, honestly, it's something my mother taught me. We're all one. And the reason for which I came into politics is to help people. And it was the tradition of our party. The fact that we have health care was thanks to the NDP. Our party was always there to defend people, to improve people's lives. So for me, we've done something for people, and we have an election campaign. We can share what we've done during this campaign. We can make the position, if you want, present the position that if you want more of this, you vote for NDP. Now, provided you're on board or on the board of a minority Liberal or Conservative government. How did you react to the letter some time ago from Thomas Mulcair, a former party leader, who was ousted after electoral results, saying that your party is incapable of standing up to Donald Trump? And if a former leader no longer believes in his party, I think he's wrong on a number of counts. If you look at the history of our country, the fact that we've been there is the reason for which most of these social programs, of which we're proud, the healthcare program, pensions, investments for seniors, it was all thanks to the NDP. Employment insurance was something the NDP forced the Liberal government to do. So all the things of which we're proud, programs that Quebecers say that's why we're going to defend ourselves against the U.S., that's something the NDP forced the government to do. But the surveys announce a majority government one side or the other, so you lost all influence, all power. I think it's the decision of Canadians and Quebecers. And if you want someone who's going to fight for you, who's going to continue the work with pharmacare, care, who wants to increase dental care. If you want someone who's going to be there for you and your family, it's us, it's the NDP. Does this mean that the left doesn't have much of a future? No, not at all. There's a strong base of support that's always there, it's always going to be there. I will never give up on the work of our party, our movement to help people. People deserve to have someone like that. Thank you. The conditions you set out to support the Trudeau government over the past few years have deepened. It contributed to deepening Canada's deficit, $62 billion. Do you share some of the responsibility for the debt of future generations? No, because we've often said that we have measures to increase revenues, and the Liberals haven't taken our suggestions on board. We talked about how to increase revenues. We talked about several measures, making the ultra-rich pay their fair share. We've talked about the fact that there are loopholes, and we need to close the loopholes where we're losing billions of dollars. And recently, we talked about several ways to increase revenues. We talked about victory loans to give Quebecers and Canadians the opportunity to invest more in our country to build new infrastructures. We've often talked about how we can stop wasteful practices like oil subsidies, which I want to eliminate, and the use of private consultants, which I also wish to eliminate, to save money to invest more in people. For me, it's really a decision. The priority for me is to invest in people and stop giving big gifts to the ultra-rich. Speaking of the ultra-rich, what's the definition of ultra-rich? I'm talking about people like companies or businesses like Brookfield. I'm talking about people who receive the tax cuts that Mr. Carney made. People who earn more than $1.4 million. That's where the bar is set. Those are examples, but in general, I'm talking about big corporations, the real estate giants like Brookfield. I'm talking about big grocery companies that exploit people. Those are the problems. So what you're proposing is to higher taxes for large corporations. In this campaign, we proposed a few measures to increase funding for our country. We've talked about using Canada revenue to stop companies that don't pay their taxes. Companies like Brookfield that have made over $1 billion and for 3 years haven't paid any taxes. So that's a problem. In the current economic situation, is this open bar for deficits and increasing debt? I think that in difficult times we need to invest more in people. We shouldn't cut services because people are facing hidden unpredictability, so we shouldn't cut services that people need. But we can cut wasteful spending like oil subsidies. These are billions of dollars that we're giving to big companies who are making massive profits, often record profits. So why are we giving public money to these companies? We can cut that. We can also cut the hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars we spend on private consultants. That's something we can do as well. So there's a lot of waste where we give big gifts to big companies that we can cut to find money or to save money. You want to eliminate or reduce the number of private consultants giving government advice. Wouldn't it increase the size of the civil service if consultants did less work and more civil servants were needed? Are you ready to expand the country's civil service? I've already spoken with the public service, and they're ready to do the job. They criticize the fact that the Liberal government, and former Conservative governments as well, used private consultants when our public service can do the job. Public service has increased by 100,000 people in 10 years, so during Justin Trudeau's government. Is it obese? Are there too many civil servants in this country? No. I think, particularly in a time when there's a threat of job loss, it's not the time to cut jobs. I think it's the wrong thing to do in an economy with, as I said, uncertainties, with the threat of tariffs, in a commercial war, to eliminate or reduce the number of people working. It's not the right thing to do. Thank you. Mr. Singh, you explained in great detail how your party helped set up social programs. How do you explain the NDP's failure to make inroads in Quebec? I think this is the purpose of an election campaign, to share a message. And we have time now to use the platform of this election campaign to say to people in Quebec, look, it was us who were there for you. We used our power to help you. We want to help people. And that's our record as a party, our record as a leader. That's our value. We think we're better when we help each other. You have only one MNA in Quebec. Well, that's what that one MP did. A single MP in Quebec who delivered the goods with a program that treats 500,000 people in Quebec. A program in which 1 million Quebecers have registered. Imagine what we can do with more MPs. If we can do all this with one MP in Quebec, imagine how we can help Quebecers, how we can defend Quebec culture and defend the French language and improve people's lives with more MPs. Do you think we can hear your message? I think it's important because we're in an election campaign. So it's time to get the message out to people, and people are going to choose. But I think it's important to know who's on your side, who's going to fight for you, and that's us, the NDP. But there's little chance of you taking power. So the question is, who is the best placed to deal with the crisis and Donald Trump? People are often asked whether Marc Carney or Pierre Poilievre is the best. What do you think? I think the question that I wish to ask people is, who do you want on your side when we're in this crisis? We've seen other leaders, Marc Carney's priorities, Pierre Poilievre's priorities, both propose cutting services. So if you want someone who's going to defend our health care, who's going to defend our universal public health care, it's the NDP who's going to do that. Is this your last campaign? I'm targeting this campaign, and it's my priority at the moment. So you're against Bill 21, Quebec's secular state law. Why shouldn't Quebec have the right to adopt its own model of secularism? In a rare moment, I agree with Pierre Poilievre's answer. I think this is the only time we're noting that a cross is made in the calendar. No, only on this question, because he gave a good answer. I agree. And I said the same thing. I believe deeply in separation between religion and the state. But it's not a question of what's in someone's head. I think it's more a question of what's in your head rather than on your head. I think you shouldn't impose your religion on somebody else, but the law is discriminatory, and I'm against laws that discriminate against people. But it's a duly effected, a law that was duly passed. So why challenge a law duly passed by the National Assembly? That's why we have courts of justice, because there are times when we have unjust laws, and that's why we have a courts of justice. This law is discriminatory. It's not the right thing to do. It's happening. That happens in a democracy. So in the event of a Cinq government, yeah, that makes you laugh. I like that. I love that idea. Honestly, it will be the honor of my life to represent people, to work hard every day. In the event of a Cinq government, you'd be involved in challenging Bill 21 in court and Bill 96 as well on the French language. No. Bill 21, yes, but I said no for Bill 96 because in that case, I support the importance of defending the French language. I understand that. Thank you, Mr. Singh. Thank you, Mr. Singh, for having participated and have happy campaigning.